everybody, and welcome back to Crime in Sports.
Yay!
My name is James Pietragallo. I'm
I
here,
am Jimmy Whisman.
as always, with Jimmy Whisman. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Hope you've enjoyed our recent episodes. Sally McNeil last week.
She was a blast.
Oh, wasn't she just a dream girl? She's what 50s songs are made of.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a 1950s love song. That's what they're thinking about.
Sally,
A nice girl like Sally.
baby.
Take her home to mom. You know
That's
what I mean?
the one.
She's the one. So before we get started on this week's, I just want to please, one more time, please rate and review on iTunes.
Please do.
Do that. 5 stars if you could, if you feel that way.
Be excellent.
Say something nice. Yeah, it helps out a lot with the ratings and all that sort of thing. So please do that. Otherwise, let's get on with the show, Jimmy Whisman. Let's do this. We have tonight, back into the big three, if you will, with, baseball, football, basketball, to the NBA tonight for a gentleman named Fast Eddie Johnson. Now I have to right away. I have to make sure that we put the fast in front of that.
It is so key.
Because not only is it apt and perfect for him, but also it differentiates him from all of the other Eddie Johnsons out there, and there are so goddamn many.
And the ones that keep themselves clean and live a good life.
So many, like the superintendent of the Chicago Police Department, Eddie Johnson, the former Major League Soccer player, Eddie Johnson, a Cleveland Browns linebacker from 1981 to 1990, Eddie Johnson, Eddie Johnson, M.D., the back specialist in Shreveport, Louisiana. The Democratic Congressman Eddie Johnson from Texas.
Don't forget him.
Not to mention the second-term delegate for the North Carolina Pork Council Board, Eddie
Pork
Johnson.
Council? There's a
Pork Council.
There's a, what'd you say?
It's a pork council.
Pork, like
pork,
the pigs.
Like pigs.
There's a fucking pork council.
There's a pork council board.
Not to mention that, but there's a head of it, and his name is Eddie
delegate.
Johnson.
And Eddie Johnson. And also, of course, the most confused of all, the other NBA Eddie Johnson.
What are the fuck? I mean, I get it. Edward and
bastard.
Johnson are two popular names.
But these two, their careers overlap. We'll get into that later because that will come up big time
be a more
later
different
on.
guy.
This poor son of a bitch. But okay, let's get into this Eddie Johnson.
Yeah.
Fast Eddie Johnson, as he is known throughout the land.
Yeah.
Let's see. Fast Eddie Johnson. He was born Edward Lee Johnson Jr. A nice junior. This is a guy you want to carry your name on here.
Carry on that legacy.
He's born February 24th, 1955 in Ocala, Florida.
All right.
Family moves to a very, very small town called Weirsdale, Florida.
Oh, boy.
Population 250.
Oh, boy.
All orange groves and watermelon fields.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is during the 60s. This is when blacks were Mexicans. This is then.
That's
that time period.
I don't think I've ever heard that in my life, and that might be the funniest thing I've ever heard.
They live in, they live by the fields. They live in like a little cinder block house.
All right.
Eddie makes a makeshift hoop outside. That's his first hoop that he shoots on. His father was a laborer that worked picking oranges and in watermelon fields.
Carry on that legacy, Eddie.
Yeah, worked 6 days a week. The father, and he said his father would 1 day a week, as he put it. There's a quote later on, but his father would. He said, "I wouldn't call it a drinking problem," is what Eddie said. He worked hard in the field for 6 days, then 1 day a week he'd celebrate. Under the circumstances, I can't blame him for the way he was.
I would say he's just trying to kill the fucking pain.
Yeah, of toiling in a field.
Yeah, his body probably hurts like a son of a bitch.
Oh, it's bad.
After 6 days of picking shit.
It's bad, yeah. It's tough to be Mexican. So he's the oldest of 5 children. His brother Frank, you might know, Frank Johnson, also an NBA player, was the coach of the Phoenix Suns at one point.
That's his brother?
Frank Johnson, the old point guard for the Washington Bullets. And the
I had no idea. That little guy with that tiny round head.
Yep, that is Eddie Johnson's brother. Complete opposites.
Complete different careers.
Frank was an upstanding
Frank figured
citizen.
it out.
He's fine. So Eddie,
he's a guard for the Suns too.
He's
at one
a point
point.
guard, point guard for the Suns in the early '90s when they were good. They were getting good. I think it was right before they had Charles Barkley. I was right around.
He may have been on the team that went to the finals.
That's possible. At '93 team, I can't remember.
I'll bet he was. I'll bet he was a backup to Kevin Johnson.
That's possible.
I'll bet he was.
He was good too. I remember him.
He was
Frank
fast.
Johnson. He was not as fast as Fast Eddie.
No.
Let's just say, on or off the court. Okay. Fast Eddie goes to, and he also too, they put him in high school. He was so good at basketball, he was on junior varsity for 2 days.
All right.
And when he was a freshman, they were like, oh, no, he's got to be on varsity.
Yeah.
He's killing everybody. He goes to Lake Weir High School in Summerfield, Florida, same high school as his brother. Mm-hmm. He's like the most famous alumni ever from the Orange film.
Both of them, huh?
Yeah, that's what it is. He goes to Auburn University.
No kidding.
Yeah, goes to Auburn. He's a big-time talent, Eddie Johnson.
War Eagle.
He's no joke. Yeah. He goes to where he has problems at Auburn. He gets into it with... Now, on the court, he's great.
Yeah.
He's great, but the team isn't doing that well. Yeah. And the coach... I honestly think, just looking at this... Judging by his history, you'd want to say, it's probably Eddie Johnson's fault. But in this particular case, I think this coach was a dick. Bob Davis publicly called Eddie Johnson out, said he was had a bad attitude, all this shit, because the team wasn't doing well. It's I think alumni on his ass, and he's like, I need an excuse. It's all this guy's fault.
Right.
Now, at the same time, Eddie was using cocaine during college, as we'll find out later, and everything else. But on the court, his numbers were good. Eddie would speak out against the coach. When the coach would speak out against him, they'd come to him and say, well, your coach
talk
said
about
this
me,
about
motherfucker.
You.
I'll talk about you.
I think it's his fault. This all affected his draft status.
Of course.
He was a first-round talent, and you'll tell by his numbers and his athleticism, everything else.
Yeah.
They were afraid of this because there's not a lot of guys in the early 70s in college that were having public fights with their coaches.
You're supposed to just be, I don't know what the word is, when you just submit.
Yeah, you're supposed to be submissive.
That's the word.
And not do
just take what the coach gives you. You're supposed to eat a lot of shit in high school and college. That's your job.
That's the thing. And he was saying, publicly calling me out because we're not doing well.
That's too much shit to eat.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. So he's drafted by the Atlanta Hawks in 1977. Third-round pick. That's when they had more than two rounds.
What did he play? What position?
He was a shooting guard.
Shooting guard. All right, so he's a little bigger than his brother.
He's 6'2", 180. He's a slim...
About the same size as his brother.
Yeah, I think Frank was 6'1", and he seemed a little stocky right at the end of his career anyway. But 6'2", 180, he's a thin, quick, slashing kind of a guy. Really good scorer, Eddie Johnson. Fast
Super
Eddie.
athletic.
He's a really athletic, good scorer, good dribbler, good passer.
Wow, 6'2", 180. I'm 5'8", almost 180.
Yeah, that's 6'2", he's slim.
I'm a pile of shit, though.
Well, this is back when the NBA had 3 rounds, which is interesting, too. But there's less teams, too. He's the 49th overall pick in the third round.
In the third round?
So that's the 5th pick of the third round back then. He goes to the Hawks. He's on the court. This guy did not have problems.
Yeah.
I mean, on the court, he's good. Career stats are 15.1 points per game.
Per game.
That's good.
He's doing great.
Those are good numbers.
That's decent now.
And 5.1 assists.
Wow.
So, I mean,
he's scoring and doling it out.
2.3 rebounds. And 1.1 steals per game.
He's an overall guy.
Averages over a steal a game.
That's great.
This guy can play. You look at these numbers and you go, you add that into a stat sheet.
Overall,
of a team,
that's a rounded individual.
He's gonna do something for you. So he's an
rounded
all-star. Rounded. He is there. This guy. By the way, guys, I'm going to tell you this. This is the biggest scumbag we've ever had. We're building him up now,
and we're comparing that against guys that have murdered their girlfriends and children.
Feeding a woman to a dog, honestly, is less than what he did. This guy ended up doing.
This is going to be fun.
And it's a long thing. I'm going to breeze through his career real quick because then we're going to backtrack, and he has a longer career in crime than he did in the NBA by far. So that's much more interesting. He's an all-star in 79 and 80 and 80-81. The two, 79, 80, 80, 81 seasons. He's all-star twice. 80-81, he's 19.1 points per game. Jesus. 5.4 assists, 1.7 steals. I mean, that is.
And he's playing for the Hawks?
He's playing for the Hawks.
So he's in the East. He's playing against people like Dr. J.
Yeah.
He's playing against really good.
Yeah. No, back then, too, there wasn't a lot of teams. The talent was more condensed.
Yeah.
It wasn't like.
And he's in the East
out.
where they had the Knicks and the Sixers and the Celtics were good then.
It was solid.
The East was tough.
Yeah, he was going.
And he was doing great.
You're absolutely right. And he was nasty. And during the 79, 80, 80, 81 seasons, too, as we're going to find out in a minute, he had a ton of problems off the court. He was a fucking disaster.
Well-rounded on court, but fucking oblong. In his own personal life.
It keeps coming back that there's a game later on where Ted Turner comes into the locker room because he owns the Hawks. We all know Ted Turner, owner of TBS, TNT, everything. Right. Ted Turner comes in the locker room, and this was before he was Ted Turner. This is the early 80s, so he would still come in locker rooms. And he said, boy, you are something else, buddy. He goes, if we could just figure out how to keep you from getting distracted in the summertime, you'd be something else. Because that's Eddie's thing. On the court, hey, we are all good. Second fucking June is over, or second those NBA finals are over, and it's time. He is off the reservation.
The court is his Monday through Saturday, and off court is just Sunday. It's what his dad did on Sunday. It's
exactly.
It's just extracurricular everything.
I mean, And two, like in school, he's one of the first black kids to attend a previously all-white grade school.
Wow.
And he graduated at his high school 17th of 300 students.
Holy shit.
So he's not an idiot either. This guy is not like, he's not like, oh, I come from the field and I don't know how to read. Like, he's not...
Hilarious.
He's not that. He's not like a fucking caricature of a slave from the 1820s. And he's not Sling Blade. He's an educated kid. He's smart. Right. He paid attention in school. And he says that later on, too. Plays with Atlanta 77 through like the 85-86 season. He's traded to Cleveland in 86. Cleveland cuts him after the 86 season. They don't want anything to do with him because this is when he's really unraveling.
All right.
87, he comes back, plays for Seattle. They sign him to a 10-day contract, and then he plays the rest of the season with Seattle. They had a great job.
Wow.
They loved him.
How about that?
I have quotes here from the coaches. Coach U.B. Brown of Atlanta said, have you ever seen U.B. Brown? Mm-hmm. U.B. Brown.
He's the weirdest looking man on earth.
He looks like someone's nan.
Yeah.
Is what he looks like. Like me, my cousin Ian and I used to call him Nan. We'd just be like, hey, it's Big Nan on the screen there.
It's like the Quaker oatmeal man.
He looked like our great-grandmother, like a 90-fucking-8-year-old lady who's
He has a weird face that, like, his hairline, he's got decent amount of hair. It's the weirdest fucking hair on earth.
He looks like he died.
Yeah, he looks like a corpse.
And they just put makeup on him and they stick him out there and they go, tell
and
us
then
about
operate
it,
his mouth. It's like Weekend at Bernie's.
U.B. Brown was his coach in Atlanta. He said in the games, no matter what his mental situation was, he could always produce to his potential. That was the thing. You get on the court, everything would disappear. He was great. They plays for Seattle and they have nothing but nice things to say about him in Seattle too. It's the other thing.
Shocking.
It's amazing. It's
how do you keep that kind of life secret? You know what I mean? Like, how do you keep that separate from your professional sports?
And that's I don't know how he didn't. That's the problem.
Okay.
Yeah, some people I guess are better at it, but this guy maybe the first couple of years of his career he did it, and then he
wasn't doing so much or so bad.
Yeah, and I think also too the level of stardom. Once he got to be like. Wow, he's an all-star.
Yeah.
That's no joke anymore. And he says that later on, too, where he kind of plays, I'm just a dumb country bumpkin type card, too.
Daisy.
Yeah. This Atlanta Hawks president, Michael Gearon, said, quite often you can see by the way a guy plays that's also the way he lives. Mm-hmm. That's Eddie. So this was, he said, while he had drug problems in the early 80s. So this is, you can tell that something's been going on. And he also feels a lot of pressure from everywhere. He says, ever since I've been small, people have had great expectations from me. Like he very much says, like, all these people look to me and idolize me. He says that a lot, like the poor people that he grew up
the people
around.
of Weirland or Weirtown or whatever, Weirville, whatever it was that he was living at.
It's wild. So now we get into the interesting part here of his crimes. We've gone through his career, good career and all that shit. But
solid career. So hang your hat on that.
Solid career, and he can take his career and stick it directly up his ass.
How do you do money-wise in NBA?
Back then, pretty well. At one point, he was making $300,000 a year in the early 80s.
That's decent.
That's good money in the early 80s.
That's solid.
So, yeah, he's doing well, especially for a guy who grew up in a cinder block house with a homemade basketball hoop.
You can buy a house for $50,000 in the 80s, and it's a nice place.
House, yeah, especially down south somewhere.
Shit, yeah.
But he spends it on cocaine
instead.
Boy.
You can buy Florida for $300,000 back then.
You could. Unfortunately, they would not all the cocaine in Florida. That didn't come with it. He says he first used cocaine. This is there's a big part of this is an article in Sports Illustrated that I found from 1981, and it's from 1981, and it's talking about the recovery of Eddie Johnson. Like, oh, this poor guy, he came up fast. Life's been real fast on him, and now he hit rehab and he hit a wall, but boy, he's on his way back. It's a fluff piece on Eddie Johnson, and it's fucking hilarious knowing
that's awesome.
how the next 25, 30 years went for him. Really nice.
It's on his way back. Are they talking about the pen?
Nice
Jesus.
barometer, asshole who wrote that.
Whoops-a-daisy.
It's so funny. He said cocaine, he didn't think much of it at first.
Yeah.
Just no big deal. He's like, that's all right. Then he tried it again at another social function, and he kind of got into it that way.
Yeah.
He said by the time he got to Atlanta, he'd been doing it for a while. So he said, can't blame it on the big city and all that shit, he said, too. He said at this point, this is like 1980-ish, he says, I began to feel that I could dictate the game from my position. I like that feeling. But I only got it when I was playing basketball. I can control a lot out on that court. I can't control it in the real world. Very, very apt. And
I can't control shit when I'm on blow.
That's the thing. When I'm in the real world, man, he begins to encircle himself with an entourage of shitheads at this point. He himself calls them snakes and leeches.
Those are your friends, Eddie. Take it easy.
It's insane. It's a bunch of like bums, and none of these guys
just
are
hangers
like,
on.
Yeah, nobody's like, I own an insurance company, and this guy.
He's got a career
like that. No, it's just a bunch of shitbags who like to do free cocaine.
Yeah.
With a guy who averages 15 points a game. So this is a quote. We're gonna do it in their own words early.
Yes.
Let's strike up the music here for this one. I'm a country boy, used to all the simple things in life. All of a sudden, I was in the city making it big time. You come in contact with a lot of people, and pretty soon you don't know who your friends are or why they want to get next to you. A lot of things are thrown at you, and when you're young, it's hard to say no, especially when everybody's catering to your ego. You become a superficial person caught up in a rat race that's real hard to get out of.
You can't tell that those people are just hanging on? They just want a free meal ticket? You can't tell?
At this point, it's like, kind of got it all figured out, right? 1980? Yeah, no, he doesn't.
You got to weed through those shitbags, those bad people. You got to kick them all out of your life.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. It's like, man, he's really trying to do it. Spring of '79, he has an incident. Auburn University invites Eddie and his Atlanta Hawks teammate Armand Hill to honor them because they're both Auburn alumni. Eddie is slumped over on the dais the whole time. He's literally got his head down, just crashing hard. Hubie Brown, who's his coach at Atlanta and is there to give him a tribute speech, says, quote, Eddie is going to have to choose between his social life and his occupation. This is during his speech, not like off to the side. Eddie's going to have to choose between his social life and his occupation. He has the tools to be one of the greatest players in the league. The only person standing in his way is Eddie Johnson.
I love it so much.
Hubie Brown, Big Nan, fucking nailed it. Right off the bat, man.
You want your Christmas socks, you got to straighten up. That's fantastic.
Eddie says, I was young and I wanted to do everything too fast.
Yeah, no shit.
It's just so funny. It's so funny. Like in the article, they keep saying, like they wrap it up with, in the end, he learned that no matter how fast he ran, he couldn't outrun bad times. But now he's turning it around. It's like so like inspirational. And it's like, whoa, you guys have no clue. Okay, now, June of 1980. He's an all-star in 79-80, mind you. So this is in between all-star seasons. June just ended.
The two best seasons of his career. And the first one just wrapped up.
And it barely wrapped up. So he's like,
June.
He's right off the court and like out in the world, like, what do I do?
Somebody's still spraying champagne from their championship all over their trophy.
Still smell it.
Yeah.
on their shirt.
Africa's just getting those shirts of the other team that lost.
The team that didn't win now. So Eddie makes news for jumping off a second-story balcony.
Holy shit.
In College Park, Georgia, which is outside of Atlanta.
Yep.
And running away across a parking lot while two men fired guns at him from the window. Okay? Yeah. Eddie keeps running.
Holy shit.
Eddie's fast, lucky for him. And Fast Eddie.
Fast Eddie
runs
running bullets.
He runs into a police car eventually.
Good call.
Down. Yeah.
Good call.
For once, he wants the cops around. This is never again.
For once, he needs them right now.
He needs them bad.
Yeah.
So his quote was, and I'm going to make this in their own words too, because it's so innocent and beautiful. And when we find out the real facts, which I'll tell you in a second, it makes it fucking beautiful. He said, actually, I'll tell you the facts first.
All right.
And then what this fucking idiot said, okay? Let's do that. Detective Sergeant E.S. Mears, who is the investigating officer, said the two women both have multiple prostitution convictions that were in the apartment with him.
Right.
And the man who was there during the shooting was a pimp. Okay?
Holy shit.
He also says, this is what actually happened. The pimp told the detective sergeant, the pimp from the apartment that he was in, Eddie had ripped off some drug dealers and apparently beaten up the woman who had delivered the drugs. So the drug dealers came looking for Eddie.
As they do.
Detective Sergeant Mears called it, quote, pretty standard in a drug ripoff, which, yeah. Eddie, his excuse was, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was at these chicks' house and these guys busted in the door. I didn't know what was going on. I was just there and they just started shooting at me. I don't know what he's talking about.
Just my friends, these chicks that sell their puss.
Yeah, and this pimp guy. He failed to mention it, and their pimp.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
awesome.
it. And that's everything with him. He's smart enough to make an excuse that sounds good a lot. That's the funny thing, where you go, he might be able to pull it back together.
At this point in his life, though, he's almost as much fun as Lenny Dykstra.
He's so much fun.
You know, he's a blast to hang around. It's always an adventure.
Yeah, it gets much less fun with Eddie Johnson real quick here.
Fast.
This particular incident, there's two men arrested in connection to the shooting. Eddie refuses to press charges. Cops said Eddie offered no help and, in fact, quote, lied to us repeatedly.
Hilarious.
Eddie said of why he didn't press charges, I just went back to the basic rule of survival. Keep your nose out of it. You don't go swimming in deep water if you're already having trouble walking in the shallow water. Okay.
That's a hell of an excuse.
Thank you, Pastor Eddie, for your fucking inspiration.
He gives a metaphor for why that's funny. That's hilarious. He's got it well thought out, though.
So then we go to, now that was June 1980. Let's go to July 1980. 3 weeks later, he's arrested for possession of cocaine while he's driving a rental car. This is in Atlanta. Earlier that day, he had a dispute with a real estate agent, a woman, over $1,000, okay? He made a $1,000 deposit on a house in Atlanta.
That earnest money.
Wanted to move in right then, even though he hadn't closed on the house.
Nothing's closed. There's no escrow. Nothing's even filled out.
No paperwork. He gave her $1,000 and said, can I put the TV over there? So she said no.
So this is a first and last month's rent, you asshole.
That's how he's treating it.
Say like a security deposit.
So then he said he wanted his money back, which he couldn't get because it was a non-refundable. It's a mess. So
what an idiot.
At the same time during this day, the Omni is the building that the Hawks used to play in.
The Omni Center.
The Omni Center. So security staff at the Omni called the cops and told them that they're pretty sure Eddie had a gun with him, and they know Eddie's kind of unstable. He's got a lot of cocaine problems. That sort of thing. He's got a 9mm Luger, they said, on him.
Wow.
So the police pull him over, get him out, arrest him at gunpoint, find cocaine in the car, of course. There's always going to be cocaine in the car. Every time he gets arrested, he either has cocaine on him or he's arrested doing something that he was trying to do in order to get cocaine. It's always cocaine. They pull him out. No gun was found. I don't know if he ditched the gun or they didn't find it or whatever, but he stays in jail for 3 days. Charges are dropped because the search is deemed illegal.
Wow.
Because it was on hearsay.
Lucky son of a bitch.
Whatever technicality. Eddie, of the incident and why he had the gun, he said, quote, I thought I was one of the untouchables.
You aren't Elliot Ness,
That's
motherfucker.
What he thought. I thought I was one of the untouchables. I'm like, okay, you're insane. So his Eddie's attorney, Jack Manton, left him in jail for the 3 days.
Good for him.
In his words.
That's a great...
Yeah.
He needs a father. That's basically his father at this point.
Like every time we have one of these athletes, there's always
a problem with
middle-aged,
middle-aged white man, yes,
covering these guys' tracks every time,
just following them around with a broom, just sweeping up those footprints,
living vicariously through their fucking jump shots because they're pathetic and they need to live through these people. So anyway, not this guy though. He's actually trying to protect him. Leaves him in jail. He's had to protect him from himself. Said it would have been inhumane to get him out. That was his quote.
Hilarious.
Because he was just such a mess. He was moved from his cell to a mental ward for therapy and all that sort of shit. So this is when they're starting to notice that there's also something a little wrong.
There's a little imbalance in there, yeah.
The day after checking out of this facility, against everybody's wishes, by the way.
Except his own.
He's arrested for stealing a Porsche from a car dealership.
Holy shit.
Did
he at least give him $1,000?
No. Eddie Johnson's quote, the guy thought I was going to buy a car. He let me test drive it, and I stayed a little longer than usual.
He thinks it's a Volkswagen commercial?
No, he didn't come
He's
back
like, let's just go pick up our groceries and shit.
It wasn't a little longer than usual. You didn't come back with like a Jack-in-the-Box bag. You ran out long enough for him to go. You think he's coming back? I don't think he's coming back. Maybe we should call the cops. Okay, somebody call the cops. That's the steps he went. That's how long he was fucking gone. Charges were dropped somehow. I assume a lot of this has to do with the league. I don't know. But
Hubie Brown talked to somebody. A lawyer talked to somebody. A bunch of old silver-haired men talk to a lot of people.
Talk to a lot of people and get them out of a lot of shit. Eddie checks into Grady, some sort of medical facility, for observation and treatment. For his cocaine, for his insanity.
For his Porsche stealing.
For his Porsche stealing, for all of his batshit things. And by the way, this drug stuff is nothing. What he does in the end to get him his final jail sentence is the worst fucking thing we've ever covered. So stay tuned for that. Let's see. In September of 1980, he's discharged from Grady, from the facility. immediately marries a woman, because that's what you want to do when your life is in turmoil.
That's the mark of a lunatic. Send him right the fuck back.
A woman named Diana Rassis from Pittsburgh.
And how does she go? You just got out of the loony bin? Let's get married.
Let's get married. He's Fast Eddie. He's also an NBA All-Star. That's the thing.
Jesus Christ.
She's watching him fucking cross Dr. J over 2 months ago. Like, this is she must think he's somewhat together. All of his family and friends are against this marriage because they're like, what the fuck? You're
a lunatic.
You're not capable of test driving a car.
You were just sitting in a room that was the equivalent of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
He's a disaster.
And now,
all those people in one. They have a child, also, this couple, later on in December of 81, they have a child. He ends up having 3 kids, Eddie Johnson.
So 4 years later, he gets her pregnant, they have their first kid.
No, this is 1980. This is the next
1980,
year.
so a year later.
9
months. So right now, they get pregnant right now. Yeah.
15 months later, they have a kid after they get married.
Holy shit.
He is then, at this point, when he was at Grady, he was diagnosed manic depressive.
Yeah.
Now, back then, that's more like a bipolar now.
Right.
Back then, these mental disorders were not exactly classified as well as they are now.
A kid and a wife ain't fixing that shit. I'll tell you that right now. I got 2 of them and a wife.
You add bipolar to
You're going to be a little bit crazier, sir.
Yeah, and manic depressive was kind of a blanket.
And a coke problem? Holy shit.
And that's the thing, and they give him lithium.
Oh,
so
boy.
now he's got lithium and cocaine, which is a bad combination.
Yeah.
But the lithium balances him out a little bit here, where he doesn't
minorly
steal Porsches and
go
crazy on
try to buy a house
agents.
for $1,000.
Yeah. He didn't want to take it because he didn't want to be seen as abnormal, he said. And the doctors had to convince him to take it because he was like, oh, man, I don't want to take that.
You got a coke addiction, sir. You're a little more abnormal than you think.
So, yeah, they diagnose his manic depression as a pathological and recurring mood changes that usually develop for no clear external reason. Those are the sphere that he has.
That's a long diagnosis.
That also sounds like a guy who does a lot of coke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mood swings.
That's a guy that's coming off coke and gets back on coke. That's just a roller coaster.
It says these usually develop for no clear external reason. People on coke, if they're really coked out, are like cats.
Yeah.
Like when they just sit there and all of a sudden, boom, they like move like what the fuck
for no apparent reason.
Yeah, that's like a guy on coke, or my grandmother when she sees a black guy.
It's like those doctors have never heard of coke or seen somebody coming off coke and then doing coke and getting back onto coke.
Yeah, they were looking at him like, oh my. Oh, by the way, I should credit this guy. Bruce Newman was the guy who wrote this Sports Illustrated article where I got a lot of this.
Is this the fluff piece?
This is the fluff piece, yeah. So you're an idiot, but thank you for compiling that together, Bruce. Good job, buddy. I don't know what Bruce is up to nowadays. I didn't look that up because I don't give a shit about Bruce because we got Eddie Johnson.
Right. And he's so much more fun.
He's so much more fun. Now, here comes the fun, okay? This is he stops taking lithium. There is a lot of erratic behavior when he gets out of the Grady Center, he goes right from there to training camp. Right away, he goes a little wacky in a team meeting.
Yeah.
Has to have the coach take him out of the meeting and say, get the fuck out of here. You're out of your mind. You can't do this. They're practicing. He is seen on the sidelines, jumping rope. Seriously.
Doing shit that coke addicts do?
Yeah, he's like jumping rope. He's talking to kids in the stands. Like in the middle of the game, he went up to like play with children. Like he's just acting like a nut.
Hey, you got some jacks?
He calls the Atlanta Constitution newspaper and tells them that he's being traded to L.A. And
he's not.
No plans of trading to L.A. He's just a crazy person.
He just wants to go to L.A.
He
heard it's great out there, and he's like, I'm just going to leak something.
Yeah, he hears it's a fun time.
This is pre-TMZ, so he's got to leak it.
I can picture his coked up mind. He's like, if I just tell them that I'm being traded to L.A., maybe they'll be like, oh, everybody thinks he's being traded. Anyway, we can just trade him.
Maybe he read The Secret.
He's calling his friends, being like, who wants to go to L.A. with me, I think. I think he went fucking nuts, man.
There's a beach.
So, yeah, he's yelling at people. That was the funniest thing. Just yelling at random people in practice, too, like teammates for no reason. Like, he'd just be like, just start yelling at them. Not even about basketball.
Pick up my laundry.
Yeah, things like that. Like, why people let the grass get so long? Like, what?
It's a 2 o'clock bus run at 5 around here.
It's fucking crazy.
Weird shit.
Management ends up calling his doctor, Dr. Bacchus, who'll keep coming up. Dr. Bacchus is a psychiatrist, I assume a silver-haired middle-aged man. Dr. Bacchus calls to get committal proceedings going on, have him committed because he's a danger to himself and others. He's off his meds.
Yeah.
He's off his lithium. In October...
And on his coke.
In October of 1980, he is... This is during his All-Star 80-81 season, okay? In October, there's a practice. Management is planning on intervening with him. They call off the practice, but wait until everybody gets there. Police officers come in and drag Eddie Johnson off the practice court in front of his teammates. In front of his teammates, telling him they're going to commit him to a mental institution. He's screaming, no, no, no. One of his teammates almost gets arrested because he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Taking Eddie away, and tries to wrestle him off. He scores 15 points a game. So there's a problem there. These guys... They take him to a goddamn mental institution right from the floor. I mean, right from the floor, which is amazing.
A lot of normal people, though, if you've got a little bit something off, I imagine, something like that will scare you straight. Mm-hmm. I imagine that they're trying to just give him tough love, like some sort of like boot camp entry thing to get to figure him out, to get him to just straighten the fuck up.
Absolutely.
And it isn't going to work.
And he stayed for a week and then checked himself out against doctors and everybody else as well, because that's they could only hold him for a certain amount of time. They could have him committed for whatever. And he knew how to say, like, hey, I'm cool. I don't know what they're talking about, I'm good now. Yeah.
This has been great, you guys.
I'm good now.
That pudding was terrific.
He sees Dr. Backus, sees a psychiatrist regularly through that season, all the way through to this article that came out in December of 81.
Wow.
He was still seeing Dr. Backus. So, I mean, he kept up with that.
That's basically a guy that's so dedicated to doing coke and being a nudnik. He is willing to project it and make everybody believe just on the outside seeing his behavior that he's just on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
But he's going to continue doing his bullshit.
No, guys, this is good. This has been good for me to stay. I feel refreshed now. I just needed my batteries recharged, you know what I mean? He goes outside and he's like, who's got cocaine?
Where's the coke and hose?
I need cocaine now. Where's my pimp?
Awesome.
Where's that pimp guy?
Yeah.
So, and this is the funny thing, too, in the end of that Sports Illustrated article, too, the coach, Laurie, I think his name is, he says that this is the guy who had to kick him out of team meetings, saw him dragged off by police officers to be committed. He says, I don't foresee any future problems. I think everything's good.
I don't think I've seen anybody in my life ever drug out of anything but police and social workers.
And Eddie was confident, too, after this whole debacle. He says, this is his quote in their own words here, people are fickle. When you're going through it, people don't care what happens to you. When you make it back, everybody's got a pat on the back for you. They'll say, well, he can still play. That's their cop-out. Well, I can still play. I've been successful at that my whole life. It's these other obstacles that have derailed me from time to time.
People are fickle, especially you, sir.
From time to time is an understatement, as we'll see. Now we go to July 82. 1982, next year, July, beginning of the summer. Again, NBA season needs to be 12 months long. Unfortunately, it's like 9 months long. It's fucking long. It just goes forever.
It tapers off right into that 4th of July weekend.
So the NBA is tipped off that he has been seen out drinking beer in public, which is against his deal with them. He's supposed to be completely on the up and up.
He's the Johnny Manziel of this time.
He's like the Josh Hamilton of his time. That's what he is. So like they see him out, they're like, oh shit, he can't have a beer. He can't have anything.
Don't give him a goddamn thing.
People, hide your valuables. Because Eddie Johnson's having a beer. 10 minutes from now, he could be tearing this place up, stealing the clothes off your fucking back.
And bullets can be flying.
And people can be shooting at him. You never know. Robbing drug dealers. He's ordered to a rehab facility by the league, but in less than 2 weeks, he leaves against whatever doctor's orders.
Why the fuck not?
Suspended by the NBA for a little while for that. He continues to have problems the whole time. Keeps his nose pretty clean of the law up until about 1986 here, and this is when things really hit the fan for Eddie. He's still playing in 86. This is when he gets traded to Cleveland and then ends up going to Seattle in 87. Finally, in 86, he admits he's addicted to cocaine.
It's about time.
Finally, 10 years later. Goes to rehab for 2 months. So I think
that's a good solid time.
During the summer. Yeah. So I think this is
60 days.
Well, what he's trying to do, too, is he's trying to show the NBA that
I'm in this to win it.
I need to get back in the league, and I'm in this. Okay.
I need a job, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes.
Like I said, he played for Seattle, and they loved him in '87. The president of the Seattle SuperSonics, who are now the Oklahoma City Thunder for all the kids out there, he said he's a really nice guy. Did everything that was asked of him. Couldn't have. He said Problem is, he couldn't be trusted in the off season. And again, this guy too, just like Ted Turner, called him, quote, a time bomb every summer. So 1-year contracts is the key to Eddie Johnson for teams looking for a guy like this. Seattle had team officials monitoring him off the court.
Wow.
Like a Pac-Man Jones situation, with Dallas when Jerry Jones had an entourage with him.
They've got
that sort of thing.
He's got a tail everywhere he goes.
Yeah, it was Dallas with Pac-Man Jones,
I believe
right?
so.
I think so, yeah. And I know they did it with Des Bryant, too, at first, in his first couple of years. He made anti-drug speeches all year at schools and local places.
And then he'd leave and chop up an 8-ball on the dash of his car.
Exactly. He would sign autographs till every kid was gone. I mean, they said you could not ask for more of a great guy than Eddie Johnson that summer. They loved him.
Like he was on the straight and narrow. He was on the path, figuring it out.
And then summer 1987 hits. And now we get into...
Summer's fun.
His career's over now. 86, 87, this is it for him. Separates from his wife at this point, starts hanging out with all the drug people.
Yep.
And there's a a quote in 87 from him where they asked him, you separated from your wife and now you're hanging out with these same scumbags again. And this is his quote from there. You can tell how you can hear the cocaine in this quote. Okay. In their own words, I'm tired of my name being slandered by drugs. My thing is, every time a problem arises, it doesn't have to do with drugs. First of all, yes, it does. And drugs didn't slander your name. No. Okay? There's not a little baggie of cocaine going, man, Eddie Johnson's an asshole. You are a fucking idiot that can't stop doing coke all the time.
That would have been a great commercial, though, for like anti-drugs.
Oh, my God.
With like Chris Rock's voice.
Yeah, talking shit about him, and he's paranoid because he's on so much cocaine. You talking shit about me, cocaine?
Like Penny with Little Penny. Remember those?
Yeah, Little Cocaine.
Eddie Johnson and Little Eddie.
Little Eddie. It's a bag of cocaine with eyeballs.
Chris Rock's voice
and
talking
Chris
about,
Rock's voice.
You're an asshole, Eddie.
Hey, you're an asshole.
We're slandering you over here.
That'd be fucking great. It just
Cocaine
berates him.
slandering the shit out of you.
Just berating Eddie Johnson in the voice of Chris Rock.
I love it.
Like the Geico money with the eyeballs with that bag of cocaine. So, July of 87, the league suspends him for the drug policy because he's out doing crazy shit. And he doesn't, I guess he has to follow up for whatever, certain check-ins, and he doesn't because he's out doing crazy shit. He's not
part of like parole type of...
Yeah. September of 87, he fails to appear in an Atlanta court for a suspended license. We're building slowly, but it'll come.
Small crime, but it's coming.
Yeah. Now we get to October 87, next month. He's held at the Fulton County Jail for passing a bad check, aggravated assault, theft of services, simple battery, and abandonment of a child.
Holy shit!
This is
trying to wrap all those charges into like a
cohesive
scenario that is even
it's
possible.
That joke I have. It's the same thing. You look at that and you go, how the fuck did that happen? Well, apparently he was arrested for the bad check was at the Hyatt Hotel for $380.95. He's charged with not paying a taxi. That'd be your theft of services.
Yep.
For $112.20, which in 1987, that's a fucking expensive taxi.
Yeah, no doubt.
Where the hell was he going?
He rode from one end of town?
Did he come from Ocala? Yeah. So Atlanta, like, where the hell did he come from? The assaults and the abandonment of a child, that just comes in the everyday life of Eddie Johnson. Just you assault people sometimes, you get a
and
kid,
leave your kid behind. Right.
It happens, so that who knows what that happened. Most of the charges are dropped or, quote, resolved, as they put it. I don't know why. But as they're releasing him from jail, they punch him up on the computer. This is
got a warrant for failure to appear.
November 5th of this year, computer check says he's wanted in Lake County, Florida. What he's wanted for there is really where we begin his downfall.
I love it.
He's wanted there because they do, especially in the 80s, they still do it now, but drug buys. County sheriffs.
Little sting.
County sheriffs apparently got him on videotape selling an undercover officer a $20 bag of crack.
Awesome.
So they have him not buying a bag of crack, selling crack on the street
to a cop.
I love it. At this point in time. So he's making anti-drug speeches. He's doing all that. He's also slinging rock on the fucking corner while he's
the original Master P. I love it.
It's amazing. But reverse. He's been in the NBA.
Yeah, he's done it. Yeah.
And then he's like, I'll sell crack now.
Now it's time.
He's a backwards Jay-Z.
This is my 401k.
So yeah, he's there. this, they find out he's wanted. Eddie denies everything.
Yeah.
His lawyer's like, it was dark. There's probably a lot of people on the streets claiming to be the famous Eddie Johnson.
There's a lot of people named Eddie Johnson.
He said there's probably a lot of people claiming to be him. He's a famous guy. This isn't the first guy. You might say you're Dr. J. You might say you're Larry Bird. Well, not if you're a black guy, but you might say you're Robert Parrish. You're not going to say I'm this Eddie fucking Johnson, guy. I'm the guy with a criminal record longer than your leg. That's me. So it gets bad. I mean, his total arrests, it's a cornucopia. Really, it's burglary, robbery, forgery, theft, battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting, selling drugs, buying drugs, manufacturing drugs. He did 2 stints in a Florida state prison, and this is all before his main crime at the end that we'll get to that he's now in for. This is all then. We'll get to some of these crimes. August of 1989, he's arrested for breaking into 2 houses and admitted to stealing $9,130 worth of goods for crack money.
Wowza.
So this is getting bad now.
Yeah.
He's 2 years out of the league.
In the 80s, you stole 10 grand worth of goods? You stole everything in the house.
And he said it's for crack money. Later in the year, he admitted into breaking into a woman's home and stealing a $250 VCR to, quote, sell on the street for $20 to get crack. Not good. I mean,
crack in the 80s was like what meth is now.
Yeah, I mean, and this continues through the 90s. Through the 90s, it's a bunch of small time.
Yeah.
He racks up over 100 arrests.
Wow.
So, I mean, that tells you it's just a lot of possession of cocaine, a lot of this, that, bullshit, stealing. I don't know how the hell he did. He did 2 stints in prison.
Yeah.
I don't know how he didn't do
I'm 35. I've been arrested once.
Yeah, this 100 times.
Unbelievable.
And he made a couple $1 million and still got arrested 100 times.
Jesus.
It makes him even stupider. We get to the year 2000, where he's being arrested for drugs again, and he strikes a deputy several times in the face during his arrest. So there's the law enforcement battery.
Because he's fast.
Yeah, because he's fast, Eddie. Later on in the year, he is chased, not so fast anymore by the year 2000 apparently, because he is chased down and caught after stealing $98.94 worth of clothes from a Target.
That's a lot of clothes at Target.
That's a lot of clothes at Target. Those $10...
And at 45 years old, you can't carry all those clothes and run.
$10 Fanta T-shirts, that'll add up after a while. Those like reprint Nirvana concert shirts.
Bunch of Massimo shirts.
Yeah, so... just a mess by 2000. I mean, that's
wearing a Miller High Life trucker hat.
Yeah, not even 99 grand worth of goods. He's like, I need a hoodie, and like he's just, my pants are dirty. Shit.
I need a hoodie and a fucking cheap cardigan.
This whole time, there's a quote from him. See, this guy gives so many quotes. It's not like now where players are guarded.
Yeah.
He kept trying. He had to keep getting himself back in the good graces.
Yeah.
Well, he kept having to try to get him. So he was used to like talking. At this point, he said. They said, do you know how much you've messed your life up and blah, blah, blah. And he said, yeah, I know. I've always lived fast. I'm Fast Eddie. That's his logic. Like that's a brand on his ass that came at birth. I got to be fast. It says so on my ass.
Like God. That fixes everything.
I'm Fast Eddie. Through this whole time, too, he has extreme cocaine delusions because he keeps insisting on writing his own motions to dismiss and reduce bond. He persistently, through all of these cases, tries to represent himself, despite having zero legal background whatsoever and not even actually graduating from Auburn.
I love those so much.
He is like, I can do it. He's coked out of his mind.
Give me an 8-ball. I'll get this thrown out in a minute.
So, yeah, he's in and out. He is just a goddamn disaster. Now we come to 2006. Mm-hmm. Okay, now these arrests continue to happen, but 2006, and also of all of his drug things, I want to give you an Eddie quote to sum it all up. And he said, quote, "The things that happened to me not because I was influenced by anybody, but because I wanted to do them. I was just curious. I went around with the wrong people and it caught up with me."
100 times.
100 times.
Just to do them.
Just to do them.
That's a crazy fucking statement.
Hey, you know what I'm saying?
I've never thought to go to a real estate agent, give her $1,000 and say, I'm just going to move in now. I've never had a thought to just say, I'm going to try that sometime. I'm going to go test drive a Porsche and just not come back.
And not come back.
And just try that sometime.
And the quote wasn't like, I wasn't, I was just going over here. Or he didn't even try to make an excuse. He goes, I guess he thought I was buying one. Like, Yeah.
I can't.
You just took it.
You told him that.
You have to be really.
You told him you were interested in that.
Anybody out there? I don't know if you can contact Eddie Johnson, but if you ever have any dealings with him, like a business dealing, make sure to really be specific with him, because make sure he knows $1,000 doesn't mean he can move into the house,
and a test drive doesn't mean you now own that. That's not what a Porsche does not say on the sticker price. $48,000 or a test drive.
Or test drive.
That's not what it costs.
Take it with you.
That's not what it costs to buy a Porsche.
I want to know what he did. I know he went and bought crack. He had to go buy crack
all the time.
You know he went and like pulled up to the crack dealer and was like, "I'm good for it. Look at my Porsche. I'm rich. I got a Porsche.
I'm rich, bitch.
Look at that. I just bought it. That's why I got cash money." Like, he's like, "I don't have any cash on me right now because I just bought this Porsche."
Right, but I'll be right back.
But if you give me the test drive on the crack, I'll be back. And then he went on a double test drive.
That's what it costs to buy crack, a test drive.
Oh, man, he's a fucking disaster. I can't... The level of disaster that this guy is, I can't even, I'm researching this guy, and I'm like, at one point, you're rooting for him to turn it around. Because I'm starting at the beginning, and I'm reading all this shit.
After the Porsche, I was.
Yeah,
because that's a fucking great prank.
They keep giving him chances.
Can you imagine how shitty that Porsche salesman must feel? That he's giving a man in the 80s a $50,000 vehicle to go test drive.
Yeah.
And he feels on top of the world because he gets a commission when he sells those things. And I imagine he's doing pretty well. You sell Porsches. You're probably making pretty decent scratch.
Yeah.
How shitty must you feel when you just loan this man a car to drive and the shit doesn't show up?
Not to mention, we are in the 80s in Georgia.
Right.
So this Porsche dealer's boss said to him, "Wait a second. You let a fucking 27-year-old black guy drive off with a fucking $60,000 Porsche? You are fired, asshole."
30 years ago, we'd have fired a water cannon at him for showing up on this dealership.
Yeah, now you're giving him Porsche.
And just handing it to him and not even getting in the car?
What the hell is wrong with you?
Wrong with you?
Oh, my God. He's amazing.
That's awesome. How shitty must he have felt, though? Like, well, I'm fired. That's pretty much the end of my career as a Porsche salesman.
And Eddie
it didn't come back.
Eddie about this whole thing, another Eddie quote, he says, "I don't blame anybody for what happened to me but myself. I could make excuses, but there's no excuse. It's just the money. It's not the money. People fail to understand when you're involved with the drug culture. It's just the hustle that goes along with it."
Jesus God.
You're not involved in the drug. No. He acts like he's this kid that's like he has nothing else.
Right.
And like his mom's like Gilbert Grape's mom. Right. And his dad's in prison.
Right.
And his brother's in jail for selling crack. And he's got to make ends meet. And his mom needs her insulin.
This is how you have to live.
No, you were in the goddamn National Basketball Association. He played in the East. He was on the same floor with Michael Jordan, who's a billionaire right now. So you had every opportunity in the world, which is why this is so insane.
You play in the NBA and you're an all-star. It's not like you're not
all-star.
You're not Mark Macon. You know what I mean? You're fucking. You're Eddie Johnson. You're shooting guard.
You're not Randy Brown.
Right. Exactly.
You're scoring.
You're doing well for yourself.
I think you're a badass. Plus, people liked him because he was a flashy scorer. People like that. So I mean, he had fans. Like the fans.
The All-Star
loved him.
team has what? 6 shooting guards on each side, or combined probably.
Nowadays, everybody's a shooting guard, small forward. Anyway, everybody's a 2-3. He's more of a. He would run the points. Anyway, all right, whatever.
Point is, in the All-Star team has maybe 4 in each position on either side of the floor for the West and the East. The man is one of those 4.
Yeah,
he's doing well.
He's doing well.
He's fourth at minimum, best at his position.
We get to 2006, and Eddie is not doing so well at this point.
Point is, you didn't have to sell rock. You didn't have to do rock.
You didn't have to. He especially didn't have to sell it on the street or steal VCRs.
If you're going to sell it, that's like the number one thing. You don't get involved with it. You don't do it.
That's the most 80s crime you could commit.
Yeah.
Stealing a VCR to buy crack. That's the most 80s crime you could commit. Unless you were going to use that, get the crack to get your guts up to go shoot Ronald Reagan. Right. That would be the most 80s crime you could commit.
To go impress Jodie Foster.
To go impress Jodie Foster and then punch Donald Trump because he shut down the USFL.
It's the most 80s crime you could commit.
It's the most 80s crime you could commit. Stealing a VCR for crack. That is 1987 in a nutshell right there.
And now it's stealing music to buy fucking
now it's
meth.
stealing iPhones to buy meth. So here we go. Let's get to 2006. Guys, I don't know how else to say this, but let's get right into it. He, in June of 06, he is arrested for rape of a 25-year-old woman. He apparently allegedly broke into a hotel room and raped this lady. Didn't know her from whatever, just whatever.
Random chick.
He somehow, this is what I don't understand too. He has 100 arrests.
Yeah.
This guy. He has a record longer than anybody they're going to bring in that day.
Right.
They let him go.
Holy shit.
He is awaiting trial out there. They don't keep him in jail awaiting trial. How do you have bond if you're a because this is, I mean, that's a big jump too from all the shit he did to now raping people.
That's like the plot of Making a Murderer.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So they let him out while he's awaiting trial. Nice move, asshole in Florida judge who'd ever fucking douche did that, because in August of 06, August 9th he's arrested for it. I think it was the day before. August 8th, I want to say. He is arrested for, the charges are sexual battery of a minor under the age of 12, lewd and lascivious molestation of a child under 12, and breaking and trespassing and shit like that.
Cocaine is the least of his worries at this point.
At this point, cocaine is the least of his worries, and also too, he's arrested for this on the 9th.
Yeah.
For this crime, it's a really big deal.
Shit just got real.
It blows up, which is terrible for this poor mother of this little girl, who we'll get into. This poor little girl, but even worse than them. The worst effect it had on anyone was on the other Eddie Johnson. The other Eddie Johnson.
Oh, it feels so cruel to be laughing right now.
Not Fast Eddie. Unfast Eddie.
The face of TNT.
This poor son of a bitch. Eddie Johnson was another NBA player, and he, by all accounts, is a nice guy. Never been arrested for cocaine, for stealing things for crack, for raping children.
Lives life right.
He is fine. He has like instructional videos for do shooting drills for the kids. Nice guy. Played for the Kings, Suns, Sonics, Hornets, Pacers, and Rockets. Coached the Suns.
Yes.
Was on TNT. Just a great guy. Several news outlets, not just small ones, several national news outlets report this as him being arrested for raping a child.
Oh, God.
His picture showed, his highlights showed. Skip Bayless, that little douchebag, squirrely
that motherfucker,
fucking sack of shit on ESPN in the morning that argues with Stephen A. Smith, who I'm gonna act dumber than I am because that makes it more entertaining. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, Skip Bayless too. You guys are phony cunts.
What a couple of assholes.
Let us do that.
Yeah.
It'll be much more fun, and I won't say cunt, I promise, if ESPN is listening. Anyway, which they're not, so fuck all of them. Anyway. Skip Bayless goes off on what a horrible human being he hears his picture up the whole time. Jesus. They do a whole segment on the poor bastard.
Oh, Jesus.
He's at home freaking out. Imagine you're a nice guy, you're retired from the NBA, got money in the bank, you got videos out, you got jobs doing things. Like, this is great, my life is good. You turn it on, he's like, oh, look, I'm on the, what the, holy shit. Oh my
look,
God.
My life's about to crumble.
Who do you call at that point? Where do you even start?
Fucking police. I'm being murdered.
I need a press conference. I'm like, so.
My character is being assassinated like a motherfucker right now.
I mean, they corrected it later, but tons of people didn't see the correction.
Yeah,
they
nobody's
just
seeing that.
They go, hey, man, they go to work and they go, remember that guy Eddie Johnson that played for the Sun, the guy that's on TNT? Yeah, he just got arrested for raping a kid.
Unbelievable.
So he considers defamation lawsuits and everything else because he's like, what am I going to do here? Yeah. But he ends up not suing, I believe, in the end, and it blows over.
I feel like somebody paid him.
I feel like it's one of those things where he went, this is the most publicity I've gotten in a long time. I could sell my instructional videos much better because I'm the poor bastard that they feel bad for. Because I got falsely, so it's terrible.
That's awesome.
Oh, my God.
I feel terrible for him already.
Yeah, that poor bastard, Eddie Johnson.
I guess still. Right now, I'm feeling really shitty for him.
I feel terrible for this poor guy.
That, when the guy from 8 Mile died, they showed pictures of other people. Yeah. Other giant black guys.
Yeah. Michael Clark Duncan. He died.
Michael Clark they showed like Debo from Friday or whatever.
Yeah, Tiny Lester there and all that. You're like, come on, guys.
Come on, get it together.
At least their names were both Eddie Johnson. They both played in the NBA. But, dude, this is 2006. Do a quick Google search.
Just
a quick Google search, and we go, the upstanding citizen, Eddie Johnson, that's on television right now, or the guy who's been arrested 100 times and just got arrested for rape last month? Which one of those is it?
The guy that was just on TNT diagnosing Kobe's problems in his marriage, or the other guy that's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
That's got 100 arrests.
100?
In 20 years.
Lots of cocaine.
Which one is more plausible to have raped a woman and a child, for Pete's sake?
And the messed up part is here, he goes to court, and we'll get into the details of the crime in a second here. I'm going to hold them off for a minute, because once we hear that, we might not want to laugh for half a second, because it's horrific. He claims in court that he still had NBA money from investments, and he gets $300 a week from some stipends out of some investments, some, I guess, dividends or whatever.
So he's down to $1,200 a month.
But I can't believe he has that. He's stealing VCRs for crack money. Yeah. He's got because this is during court. Because he had to say why he needed a court-appointed attorney. Because
he's got to declare his assets.
$300 a week isn't enough to hire an attorney, especially for this.
That ain't gonna do it.
No. Good Lord, I can't believe that poor Eddie Johnson, the other one. That's poor
so
bastard.
awful.
But this son of a bitch. So the night in question, Eddie Johnson here, apparently he knew the mother of this child. He knew the woman. It was a family friend, as they put it.
That's the way it usually is.
The mother was gone. It was during the day. The mother was enrolling the children in school at this point, because it's the summer. Right. And Eddie Johnson can't stop doing crazy shit in the summer.
Summertime's it.
Even when there's no NBA, the second he hears the first cricket, he's like, I got to do some crazy shit.
He hears a Sublime song come on about summertime, and he's got to rape somebody.
Oh my God, that poor Will Smith he heard that, and so many people just raped. So basically, the police say that he came into the apartment uninvited while the mother was gone. There's an older brother, I think is 12 in this scenario. Talked to the brother there, told the brother to lock the front door, told the 8-year-old girl, this girl in this story is 8, Jimmy. This isn't 15, this isn't Chad Curtis getting a little diddle with a 15-year-old, which still was horrible, and I asked prisoners to stab him for. Mm-hmm. This is an 8-year-old.
What a pile of shit.
So that's why I said fuck Bruno is nothing compared to this guy. He's much worse than Bruno. So 8 years old, tells this little girl to go into the bedroom, goes into the bedroom, pushes a dresser in front of the door, fondles her, and then actually rapes her. And when I say this, I'm just telling you because it's horrific, and he did it, and he actually had penetrative sex with an 8-year-old girl.
Holy
this
shit.
Fucking piece of shit. Yeah. Complete pile of shit. 50-year-old man at the time. He does this. After he's just off the rails at this point. I mean, he's just like, I'll just rape kids now.
I'll just stab anything.
There's not a fucking adult outside to rape. I mean, dude, honestly, Jesus Christ. I don't know if he thought, and this is the other thing too, afterwards, he followed the little girl into the kitchen and tried to kiss her afterwards.
Wowza.
And then said, hey, don't tell anybody about this. I think he just thought, maybe if I do it with a little girl and rape them, I could talk them into not telling anybody. Whereas the 25-year-old, if you break into a hotel room, they tend to frown on that.
They tend to talk.
And they tend to talk about it. The mother returned, found the little girl trembling in a fetal position on the floor.
Crying and upset. Sure.
And losing her mind. The girl told the mother what happened.
Good for her.
Mother says she never gave Eddie Johnson permission to enter. He shouldn't have been there.
Right.
So this whole thing is at trial.
Wow.
And the trial, as you can imagine, is, horrible for the mother, for the kids, for everybody. They said Eddie Johnson sat there completely emotionless through the whole trial. Did the OJ thing where he just did the check out 1,000-yard stare. Act like none of this was going on. Assistant State Attorney Jennifer Kipke told the jury in her closing arguments, imagine how painful it would be to cause this, and showed them a picture of the little girl's region there, not in good shape, I guess, from the hospital afterwards.
Yeah.
And she said it was force caused by that man, which, I mean, you see that, and then you see that guy sitting there, and you go 100 arrests. You want to throw the book at that guy, I think. Anybody would. This part isn't real funny, guys. Sorry about this, but this is horrific. We had a lot of fun with this cocaine, and we'll have a little more fun with him later. But we got to get through this. 2 days of testimony lead to a guilty verdict.
Thank God.
Thank God. The defense said there wasn't enough evidence. Where's the DNA? The defense is saying there should be DNA evidence of this, blah, blah, blah.
Go fuck yourself.
Exactly. Go fuck yourself. Good enough here for me on this one.
I have an 8-year-old that's ruined, and you're going to talk about DNA evidence?
Sorry.
Evidence you can eat shit.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a picture of what happened to her.
Right.
Good Lord. Said just the whole, imagine this poor kid and this guy's pushing a dresser in front of the door, and he's a crackhead.
Yeah.
So, he looks like a crackhead.
Right. That's what I was going to say earlier, is that this is a man that's in his 50s that's lived a 30-year run of doing major hard drugs.
Go on our social media. We're putting up pictures of him.
He doesn't look good.
He does not look like a guy who an 8-year-old girl would want to play with.
Right.
Like, it's not.
She's not going to be like, let me show you my Barbies.
No, she didn't say that. She was probably scared of this guy. He is convicted. The only sentence, because of the fucking multiple prison stints, the only sentence he could get for this is life.
Thank God.
And it is they convict him of, they don't convict him of breaking into the place, because I guess the kid let him in.
Right.
But they convict him of trespassing, because he wasn't given permission. And the other 2 charges we told you about, lewd and lascivious molestation.
Which fucking matter.
Sexual battery.
Yeah.
He is given life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Terrific.
So, good. We don't ever have to see Eddie Johnson.
This is in Atlanta? This is in Georgia?
This is in Florida.
Oh, in Florida.
This is in Florida.
Yeah.
He's there now in prison, still, obviously. He's still alive.
61 years old.
If you want to write to him, call him a piece of garbage, hunk of shit. If you want
tell him we said so.
Yeah, you want to write to maybe one of his cell block mates and tell him, maybe, hey.
How great is that?
Looking for a good guy to stab? I know of one. In there.
Are you in trouble in prison? Like, write some sort of advertisement. Are you in trouble? Have you wronged somebody? Would you like to correct that wrong?
Would you like to correct it with...
File down a toothbrush. I said so.
I know a guy.
I know a guy whose neck is ripe for the taking.
I know a guy. Now, Eddie says all 3 of his kids have graduated from college. He's very proud of them, which I'm like, that mother must have been a good mother.
Yeah, I'm proud of them, too.
To raise them to not be complete pieces of garbage.
It's amazing that they didn't murder themselves.
No shit. Then again, he also went to college. He had college, so, college doesn't mean much, apparently. No. But this guy, man... his quotes for this too. He keeps likening everything. He just doesn't get that life isn't a basketball game. He's not quite into it. Here's a quote.
I don't think he understands that he played basketball.
At this point,
you know what I
not.
mean? He doesn't get that how much of the world's balls he had in his hands.
Yeah, he
really
had
a 2 fistfuls of sack of this world, and he fucking squandered it, and then ruined 2 people's lives.
As it's been said 7 trillion times, cocaine's a hell of a drug, Jimmy.
It really is. Really is.
This is proof positive.
Yeah.
This guy makes Rick James look normal.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, this guy, he didn't have hit songs, though, to fund his cocaine at this point. But so here's a quote from him.
Steal.
A retrospective little, When you've been idolized and built up all your life, it's hard to believe that you need to do the things that other human beings need to do. To cry and sometimes have people put their arms around you and hold on. I do know this. The problems that affect me personally are a lot more excruciating than a last-second shot on the basketball court. Fucking idiot.
Welcome to the real world, sir.
Welcome to the real world.
You think I don't got fucking problems?
Yeah.
I'm not taking it out on an 8-year-old.
I'm a disaster. I'm in the middle of a divorce. I'm a mess at the moment.
I'm in the middle of a marriage that should have had a divorce.
Yeah, you're I would call yours the beginning of a divorce. Where neither of you know it yet. But it's going to happen.
But you know what? I'm not out beating up women in random-ass chicks.
If you do get divorced, it won't be because you're selling crack rocks to undercover officers. It'll just be because you're a pain in the ass.
Right. It's because a woman can't live with me. And that's fine, too.
That's fine. That happens.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No. Yeah, but this guy...
You don't go to prison for life for that.
Not good. And this is good here, what I like. This is he's talking about when he was in school... And this is funny here. This was his life plan, apparently. He said, this is talking about school. I didn't think the black grade school I started out in was giving me the education I needed to survive in our society. I wanted to become socially involved in the middle class because you have to start in the middle to make any advance.
I got news for you. That white one didn't help out too much either.
No. And the middle to make any advance, in the middle, you know what's not in the middle? crack rocks, lots of crack rocks. And robberies and arrests and striking officers
and pimps with 9mm
and pimps and cops and stolen Porsches, and most people realize that you need to like sign papers before you can move into a house,
and then more cops,
and then more cops,
and then 8-year-olds to rape,
cops, and then raping women, then raping 8-year-olds. This guy is by far the biggest pile of shit that we've done so far.
He absolutely does not understand shit. He doesn't understand how a real world works, which is sad too because his dad figured it out. His dad knew to bust your ass every day, 6 days a week, and then on Sunday, drink beer until you pass out. That's what you do.
That's what I think.
That's what the normal society does. We drink beer till we pass out because we have to struggle to put food on the table for our goddamn kids.
This guy's problem is he had 2 months like you said, every Sunday was like 3 months long. So that's a lot of shit to get into. And
24 hours, you got to worry about Monday and a hangover.
You know what this guy could have used? A hobby. He could have used like a nice hobby, like not model airplanes because the glue will stay away from anything model. He could have used like maybe like a stamp collecting. Picture Fast Eddie, put away the crack rock Eddie, rather than picture him with like a pair of tweezers with a stamp, putting it in a little book. That would have saved him so much trouble.
Fucking chemistry kit, like burning ants, fucking anything.
Anything. Right now, Eddie would be like he'd live in like a decent house in like, the suburbs of Atlanta somewhere. He'd have his grandkids running around. Think about that. He'd have like a nice gray, like Dr. J has now, like the nice gray hair.
You'd look like a
black
Hubie Brown.
You'd look like that. Yeah, you'd have your wife sitting next to you looking like Felicia Rashad. You know what I mean? Everything would be going well. You'd be a hero, giving speeches at the locals. Oh, I got to go to that college. They're giving me an honorary doctorate tonight.
Coach at Auburn, for fuck's sake.
You'd be doing an NBA. You'd be going to all like NBA events. You'd be hanging out. You'd be doing so much cool stuff.
All-Star Weekend. He's there talking to young kids.
Crack. I need crack. Give me that VCR.
That's
crack,
the problem.
Crack.
8-year-olds, prostitutes, and pimps.
God.
It's crazy.
It's a sordid disaster.
How do you get from enjoying life to just completely fucking it up?
I don't know, man, and that's why I said it was something in the 70s, late 70s there into that 1980 where it just...
There's a trigger somewhere.
Honestly,
that just ruined
too,
him.
We have to think the mental illness has something to do with this,
Has
too.
to
He
be.
is mentally ill
Has
also.
to be.
And when you mix that going unmedicated and mixing large amounts of crack cocaine into the mix, it's volatile.
He had
That's
so
volatile.
many outs.
Yeah.
So many chances to figure it out.
Yeah.
Being drug off the court against your will is a pretty good out. That's a pretty good chance to be like, they helped me. They saved me.
And it's so funny because Tree Rollins is one of his old teammates. You know Tree Rollins is, old NBA player. Now, Tree Rollins has been busted for weed like 18 times. Like Tree Rollins he's like Robert Parrish.
Right.
He gets busted with like 3 pounds at a time in his house, like getting it FedEx to him or something. He's one of those guys. And Tree, they asked him, like, because he was on the floor when he got drug off by the cops, and he goes, I just figured it was the drugs, something to do with the drugs. And I was just like, yeah, that's what you'd figure.
Yeah, me too.
Most of the people were like I said, a couple of the teammates tried to, like, hey, help him out. And most of them were like, something to do with drugs.
Go.
Take my jumper. Like, whatever. You know?
Yeah, practice these free throws.
I don't know about him, dribble, like, whatever.
I'm shooting 68% from the line right now.
I got to get my shots in, man. 68% ain't going to cut it. They're fouling me. They're hacking me at the end of the game.
There's a draft coming up. They're talking about my cutting me.
So we got that. So, guys, that's Eddie Johnson. That is Fast Eddie Johnson.
Yeah.
Fast Eddie.
Clarify.
That is Fast Eddie. And he knows it because he's Fast Eddie.
Yeah.
So, Fast Eddie Johnson.
He's 61 with so much life ahead of him that is not going to be fast.
It's not.
It's going to be so slow.
Everybody likes him in prison, too. They said, like, the guys, because the guys are still like, well, that's Fast Eddie. That's Fast Eddie, because, like, a lot of, and then, it's insane.
Used to be Fast Eddie.
That used to be Fast Eddie. Now he's, even 15 years ago, he wasn't fast enough to outrun Target security staff.
Now it's Ashy Eddie, I'm sure of it.
Oh, yeah. You should see his picture.
I'm sure he's
Eddie,
not being taken care of.
He's got, like multiple front teeth missing, too. Like, he just looks like a disaster.
Smilers? Jesus.
Yeah, that's not
He's
good,
got smilers missing. That's
like
when
right
you know
up
you're
front.
fucking up in life. Like, you can have, everybody understands a molar missing. It's hard to brush those. You got a smiler missing? That's a problem.
What the hell happened to you?
You're living life in the wrong lane.
Either that or something violent happened to you also. Either way.
Which still coincides with living in the wrong lane.
It's not good for you.
No.
Things are bad. You need
Don't
to fix that
miss smilers.
shit.
Get those replaced.
So that's Eddie Johnson. I mean, like we said, he's as big a disaster as we promised, I think.
Yeah.
The arrests come fast and furious.
Yeah.
The final crime that he commits is heinous and
It's
horrific. And as we're researching this too, I'm like, oh God, how are we going to do this? And I'm like, he has so much other shit that it's okay if we don't laugh at one of his crimes. It's okay. We'll get by.
I'm sorry that part wasn't so goddamn amusing.
No, but you know what though?
It's hard to say it.
It was like when the villain gets killed at the end of a movie.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
But you know what?
Because he did go to prison.
That's how you know when you're a piece of
parole.
shit and when you're not. Is when you can actually commit that kind of a crime versus actually having difficulty getting the words out to describe what he did.
Yes, that's the thing.
That's when
like,
you know you're a
God.
decent person. If you have trouble saying pushed a dresser in front of a door and then raped an 8-year-old. If that is difficult for you to process, congratulations on being a decent guy.
Congratulations, you're a human.
Yeah.
Good
like
job.
to hang out with you.
Good
if you
job
can actually do that act,
Yeah.
I hope you die 3,000 deaths.
Yeah, this guy, I wish him nothing but glass ground up in his food, in his shitty prison food. I hope all of the basketballs have a slight little egg in them when he goes to play, so they don't bounce right on him.
Like that asshole that kicked the ball every PE period.
Just don't quite bounce right. I hope the hoops are those double rims where if it touches the rim, it bounces out. I hope you cut your hand up on the chain nets. Get fucked. Eat a dick, Eddie Johnson.
That is rusty.
So this time we won't say salute to Fast Eddie Johnson. We'll say
Eat
get
shit,
fucked.
Sir.
Rotten hell. Happy you're in prison. It's a good place for you.
Rot in pieces, sir.
We are going to have some good shows coming up for you in the next few weeks. We are going to have, we're going to do Gator, Mark Rogowski, the skater who kidnapped and killed his girlfriend. That's a blast. We're going to do War Machine for you UFC fans. Oh, that's going to be a fun one.
And his girlfriend is a gem.
Oh, it's going to be
goddamn gem.
That's going to be so fun. We got, who else are we saw? Ryan Leaf is going to be right around the NFL draft.
Biggest
I think that's going to be
bust
2
ever.
weeks. Yeah, biggest NFL bust ever, and all of his burglarizing, pill-popping ways. We're going to get into that. We have just so much. We have them lined up as far as the eye can see.
I love it.
Whenever I think, oh, man, we need a show, what's our next few shows going to be? I'm like, I don't know. I need to choose between these 500 in front of me. There's so many
And
good
then
ones.
they just keep coming up in the news, and it's
Keep
so
It's
awesome.
amazing. So we're having a blast with this. We love it so much. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please follow us on social media.
Please do.
Twitter, we are at Crime and Sports. Email us at Crime and Sports or crimeinsports@gmail.com. You can follow us Facebook, facebook.com/Crime and Sports. Jimmy, you want to give them your Twitter handle and Instagram?
At Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter and Instagram. And find me on Facebook, Jimmy, Jimmie. I know.
I am Jimmy P is funny.
You know what the
Jimmy
good
P
news is?
What?
Before I step on that, the good news about being
I don't
Jimmy
give a shit.
Whisman and having this difficult name to spell,
Difficult.
there will never be...
Try Pietragallo.
I understand that. But the good news for the two of us is that there will never be a sports criminal that will fuck our lives up.
I will never wake up and have pictures of me on television saying I raped an 8-year-old girl. Never going to happen. Unless my dad does it because we have the same name.
There
so
you go.
Dad, if you're listening,
Dad, keep it clean.
Keep it in your fucking pants, pal, all right? Around the 8-year-olds at least. You know. Whatever, but yeah. So anyway, at Jimmy P is funny by the way on Twitter, and you can follow all that shit. My Jimmy is regular spelling, but anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another week of Crime and Sports.
Appreciate
Crime and Sports Movement. Tell your friends, please spread the word. We're a couple of guys. We're not journalists. We don't have a network. We don't have anything like that. We have nobody helping us but ourselves.
That's it.
And you guys that are out there, you know, passing this around and forcing it upon your closest friends and allies. We need that more than anything because that just helps us so much and lets us know that this whole thing is worth it for us. And we're going to be here for a while. So tell your friends. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good week. We'll see you next week.
Bye.